Sir, what's the the school stance on like birth control pills or vasectomies, like forms of birth control?
That's for the man, or that's
for the man.
That's for the man. Okay. Okay. Give me first. Give me 2 Corinthians 3. And you start whole 6, and then give me is this like in general, or you have like a scenario for it? Romans 4 and 15. I think that's what it is. All right.
Romans chapter 4 and verse 15.
All right, so if somebody else could read to you, Tawaba. Somebody come and oh, okay, no sweat. All right. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 4, verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is.
And anybody out there with him? All right, they could just keep an eye. You could just remember which ones it is, and you could come back later to it. You was right. All right, go ahead, Mukwash.
For where no law is, there is no transgression.
Say it, read it again from the top.
Romans chapter 4, verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
For the law worketh wrath. What does that part mean? You have some chapter I was going on, Chris. Go ahead.
So like, sir, because the law is for sin, for it work wrath against sin. It's an evil for sin.
Okay, I need to break down a little bit more. Make it plain. Anybody else? Just raise your hand. Sister?
Evil makes the Lord angry.
No, still, well, that's even more vague than what he said. Anybody else? Read it one more time, because
the law worketh wrath, where no law is, there is no transgression.
All right, because the law worketh wrath, where no law is, there's no transgression. What does it mean because the law worketh wrath? What does that part mean? You're going to try to say something? Give it a shot. This ain't Esau school, I ain't going to, blast you if you're wrong.
When you said worketh wrath, right? Like karma come back quick. It does its wonders. Like, okay. I don't know how to explain it.
Explain that without saying karma, because karma is a philosophy from the Hindus. Okay. We say it because it gets hip and popular. But karma is not an Israelite culture or custom, but we say it as one word to express what I'm really asking about. So try it one more time without saying karma.
The Most High will, can I say revenge?
Because the Most High is our Father, right?
Yeah, so he'll get back.
You have a child, right? This is a boy,
girl.
When she grows up, in a few years really, when she open the fridge and dump all the eggs on the ground and throw the flour up and make cake and say, "Mommy, look, cake." Are you going to get revenge, or are you going to?
No, I'm gonna be mad.
But what will you do?
We'll clean it up. I mean, I'm gonna, get on her, I guess.
And what is that called?
Discipline. That's what I would call it.
Discipline. I'll take that. Anybody else? A warrior? Hand me mic.
Come on, the law is for judgment.
Law is for judgment. What is judgment?
Judgment is correction or
punishment. That's punishment. What everybody understands. Right? So the law will wrath there is talking about the punishment or the judgment for breaking the law. Right? In that case, example I just gave you, it should be understood. Don't go in the fridge and empty everything out. But kids sometimes have wild imaginations, and that's how they learn. How is that child going to learn after having such a wild imagination? By getting wrath, right? By getting punishment. Whatever the form of the punishment is, when the child is 25, they're going to remember, damn, I ain't never doing no dumb shit like that again because of what happened to me after. The law worketh wrath. The wrath is the punishment that comes from breaking the law. The workings of the law is wrath. God's law is not, do not be a homosexual. God's law is a homosexual going to be put to death. God's law is not, do not sell drugs. God's law is a witch will be put to death. The put to death is the wrath. That's the punishment. You get the point? So the law works wrath. It works punishment. That's the workings of the law, just like Esau. Esau's law is not don't drive over 25 in this zone. That's not the law. That's your understanding of the law. The law is if you over 25, you get in this ticket. The ticket is wrath. The Montgomery County just announced they're planning to stop them people who be doing the donuts in the intersections. They say they're going to crack down on people who doing the donuts, and you're going to get, I think, $1,000 fine. They're pushing for jail time and starting at 8 points on your license. 8 points in Montgomery County is immediate suspension, and it's supposed to be able to escalate to 12. 12 points mean I think they could take it away for good. That's the wrath, but they're trying to teach you a lesson. You get the point? So the workings of the law is wrath, is punishment to teach you a lesson. Read it one more time.
Romans chapter 4, verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
Right? Because the law worketh wrath. Where there is no law, there is no transgression. Give me that second part. What does that mean?
There's not going to be any wrath because there's no boundary to cross. So you're not transgressing. You're not breaking any laws because that is no law.
There is no law, so there's no punishment. There's no punishment against it. That's where you want to start with your question. Your question, rephrase the question.
There's an excellent precept for a lot of these fake Israelite groups who want to put extra burdens on Israel. They'll come up with random laws and try to judge brothers and sisters based off what they learn in the Christian church. But like Jeremiah Muhammad always said, when asking the question, you ask, is it lawful? Because now you have to find the law.
That's it. That's where you want to do. You're supposed to go about to establish your own righteousness. You get the point? The God's law is not personal. It's not personal. It's His law. So you start there. Shepard?
So like when the Pharisees saw the disciples not wash their hands, and they wanted to talk about them, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no law against that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's a custom of man.
Custom.
Right? So there's no law, there's no sin. That's where you want to start with something like this. All right? Where there is no law, there is no sin. Right? So rephrase the question one more time so we can get it back.
It was about
the
birth control,
right?
Birth control. Like what's the stance on
birth control and the surgical one, right? The vasectomy, right? So the stance is where there's no law, there's no sin. It's not unlawful. That's where you first start. And just like what Officer Warren was saying, there's a ton of Christians who wear fringes and say shalom that will start to pull in things from the world to make it seem like that's God's righteousness, and that's not. That's your personal righteousness. Meaning that's how you personally want to, what you want to do, and that makes you feel complete in some way. And that's fine. Everybody have a certain personal limit that you could exercise as you be part of the nation, as you be under God's law. You want to wear blue all the time, you want to wear black all the time, that's fine. But the minute you make that a mandatory thing, that's the judgment, not judgment, that justifies someone, or that makes someone good or not good, that's something else you do it. You get the point? So everybody has that, and you could do that. You have your free reign to do that. Now, give me the other precept I wanted. What called for first? 2 Corinthians 3, right? No sweat. That would.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. Who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life.
All right, read it one more time.
2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6.
Okay, start at 4.
Colonel Khan, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 4. And such trust have we through Christ to Godward. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiencies is of God.
Right. This is the trust we have towards the God, towards the Most High. That's why it says to Godward, right? That we are sufficient because of Him, not on our own strength. You get the point? The Lord is the one who, you know, have you doing whatever. And you'll see it. You see it a lot this year in the Passover, where there was so much of the Passover that really, I would say maybe 80% of the Passover was able to be undertaken by the school itself. You understand? Officer Nakamaya, give him a hand. He was doing the lamb and the bread. You know what I mean? With Bukwash and Kagar doing the lamb and the bread. Captain Akkad provided the whole security, right? He had the whole security for the special guest, the China Monegil. That was done in-house. That was a, you know, we didn't have to contract some external security company for that. You get the point? The transfer, all that was provided. It was done in-house. Why? Because when you're in the world, you're a slave to the oppressor. And the skills you have, you get it because you're trying to eat. When you come in the truth, you start developing other skills or perfecting the skills you have, not because you're trying to eat, but because you're trying to build a nation. And them skills come from the Lord. You get the point? Them gifts you start having come from the Lord. And it flourishes because you're doing this not for yourself, not for self-sufficiency, but for the nation. You get the point? And it grows. The Lord is going to increase it because you're doing this for His people, for His will. All right? Keep going.
Colonel Khan, verse 6. Who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit.
Are you able to read loud, or the mic is going to blow?
My mic is going to kind of blow.
All right, no, sir.
It's like it, sir.
It's still once they hearing you online and you're hearing you in the class.
Colonel Khan. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6.
3, verse 6.
It's like it. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. Who also have made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life.
Right? Who also, the Lord, He also had made us ministers of the New Testament, of the new promise, servants of that new promise, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. What does that part mean? Come on.
It means that the letter of the law says if someone does this, this must happen. But the spirit behind it is we're just trying to get people not to do this thing instead of just executing people.
Which is why the spirit of Christ is in the U.P.K. And it's evident with what you saw last week with all them towel wrap head holes from them Israelite groups talking shit about the sister. You get the point? Like, she's not in the truth. She's not in the truth. She probably started watching videos a few weeks ago because the journal invites her to the Black Party. You get the point? She don't know enough, like a child. You must be born again. So as you coming in, you're a child. A little child, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. They do something, you just, hey, don't do that. Stop doing that. And that's you. From the time you do this, they start crying because they don't know too much. They're not strong. And then they grow and they know more. And then now you could start to hold them to a standard. You get the point? Someone like her would be a child in the truth. They wouldn't try to exercise the letter of the law on her versus the spirit of the law. You get the point? And the spirit of the law is what she was saying in that song. That's the spirit of the law. You get the point? What would be the letter of the law in that case? An out of order woman. Woman who would whore on her husband. A woman who would commit abortions. A woman who would, you know, usurp authority over a man, like that heathen Queen Vashti. You get the point? You remember Vashti? She tried to usurp authority and get all the women to rise up against their husband. That heathen put her in a tower somewhere and she was never heard of again. You get the point? Like, there's something for when you want to go that route. But the spirit of the law is that. The Lord wants us to have the spirit of it. He doesn't want us to have the letter. Like any father, any child, you have children, The last thing you want to do is break your children. The last thing you want to do is beat them. You will do it because of the job. But you don't want to do that. You would much rather what?
You would much rather the child have wisdom and understanding and do the things that they're supposed to be doing.
You'd much rather the child just obey you.
Right.
That the child has understanding of what you want. That the child takes on your spirit. You don't have to be here, but when you're not there, nah, so-and-so ain't gonna like me doing this. You get the point? You want them to take on your spirit now. So now there's no need for the letter of the law, the wrath, which is the belt. Now they have your spirit. You get the point? That's what the Lord wants from us. So now keep reading after the spirit. Read the scripture again from the top.
Verse 4, verse 6, sir.
6.
Khan, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. Who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the spirit. For the letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life.
Right? Because the letter killeth, but the spirit gives life. You get the point? The spirit is supposed to quicken and give life to something and wake it up and get it, breathing again and get it rolling again. The letter of the law is supposed to end it. So now understanding them too, Romans 3 and this one, where there's no law, there's no sin. In addition to that, the Lord prefers you to have the spirit of him and the spirit of the law versus he having to now come in and execute the judgment of the law. You understand? So now what is the spirit of the law, what the Lord wants, apply to your situation? That's how you approach it. First off, is there a law against this? La. Now, just because it's lawful doesn't make it expedient. La, that's also in the scriptures. So now you want to check, is this in the spirit? You get the point? So now that's where it would come on a case-by-case basis, your question. Is birth control and vasectomies, what's the stance? It's not unlawful, it's not a sin. You could do it for various reasons, for many different reasons. One is, most obvious, you're trying to not get pregnant, right? For a sister, she might take the birth control, brother get the vasectomy. I don't know why brother would get a vasectomy in the first place. You should never shut that factory down, ever. Them doors stay open. That's a 24/7 factory you're running. Them things should stay open. As long as Planned Parenthood stays open, you should stay open for business. We competing. That's KFC and McDonald's. We competing for business. I got the $9.99 special going on right now. $9.99 for 20. That's all dropping them. 20. You should never close them doors. You always have employees. In fact, the lights always on. It's the best factory in the world. You should never do it. And of course, if you have some medical issue and you have to get it done, just get some counsel before you do it. You get the point? I would never advise a brother to do it. You never know. It's like, you have it's different states in America, you could have a firearm, right? Why you want to give away your gun and your bullets? You might need it one day, right? All right then. You might need some shots to run out of that damn barrel one day, brother. It might save your life. It might do something for you. So I would advise a brother to never do it. You get the point? You don't have to use it, but to cut it all the way off, that's a little bit extreme. That's a little extreme. The scripture do say if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off. Not in that case. Let that shit keep offending you if that's the case. You know what I mean? Get counsel. For a sister, because that's more permanent, right? It's of course they say you could reverse it, but I don't know what Esau doing. But for a sister with the birth control, it's lawful. She can do it. She want to get counsel before she do it. You want to find out why. What's your reason? Again, testing the spirit of it, right? If you're getting birth control because it's hot girl summer, you're a slut and you should die. You get the point? You understand what I'm saying? You got to check the spirit of what's going on. Different women have different issues. They might have some hormonal thing going, and to help treat the condition, they have her on this birth control because one of the effects of the birth control is this situation. You get the point? She might already have 5 kids, and the factory just keep going, and she need a break. You get the point? She might want to go on birth control just to make sure. She want to keep fulfilling the wifely duty, but she ain't trying to, you know, be under 9 months, you know, probation no more, because she done had 5. You get the point? She might want to do it. It's lawful for her to do it. She should consult with her husband about it, just to make sure there's no offense. He might be trying for 6. She might not want it. They should come to an agreement. There should be some sort of understanding there from either side. You get the point? So there's different reasons for doing it. It's not unlawful. You just want to check the spirit behind it. You get the point? So that's it. But for our brother, I would tell you, yeah, brother, it's just, you know, we under attack. We need every bullet we can get. We need if you have a musket, keep that gunpowder dry, brother. We might need that. That might be the last shot to save the universe. You know what I mean? I wouldn't advise our brothers to do it, but of course, just get counsel on like you should do with everything. All right.